Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Dear sisters and brothers of 2020, thank you very much for your attending this uh, fourth 11th meeting of Introduction to Macroeconomics. Time is going very fast, so we have been almost in the end of the semester, by the way. And before I start to the subject, I please open my class that you have already seen together in the screen. That we have been in the 11 week of this course. So if you see and go through meeting by meeting, we have been in the 11 right now, actually, yeah. But I'm going to go through a little bit before about the unemployment, and then here we have the basic tools in finance, yeah. Even though the slide is very many, but I just want to touch a bit about that, so you can have such brief ideas on how to apply that particular ideas or particular topics. So these topics about basic tools of finance and also the unemployment is very interesting actually. So if you can understand these two topics, those were have such a response in regard on the current policy that had just released by the government about omnibus law. Yeah, if you just heard and join the issue in the television, you can see that this omnibus law is related with the unemployment policy, yeah, or unemployment rate. And now we want to discuss a bit about that. So I go quickly, and if you have some questions in the meanwhile, please, as usual, don't hesitate to just skip me to raise your questions. Okay, dear sisters and brothers, let me just start with the topic about basic tools of finance. Very few minutes, because last week you have already learned this issue. Okay, just I want to just change first. Okay, before we start, I just want to know about the experience by Brother Abdul here. Brother Abdul, Are you there? Are you with me?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay, Brother Abdul, I just want to ask you a very simple questions. How much the price of your, not yours, but the house surrounding your area in Sudan? Is it quite expensive or cheap, Abdul?
It's very expensive, sir.
Very expensive.
Yeah, around
If you talk, yes, how
$5.
much?
$5 around.
How much per meter, brother? Per meter. We
What?
just calculate per meter. Per how many sorry, but not meter, centimeters.
The normal houses is like 400 meters, and the price of meters around $5.
Oh, $5. So if you want to have a very maybe small and simple house, how much usually it costs, brother Abdul?
Around 20,000 or $30,000.
Okay, so it does mean that the price of house time by time is going to be increasing.
Yes.
Maybe right now, yeah, dear sisters and dear brothers, when I was child, yeah, and when you were child, I guess that the price of a land or the price of house may be not as much expensive as now, yeah. But if you can see in the city of Yogyakarta or maybe nearby the university, you cannot imagine that the price of land per meter here is almost 3 million rupiah. 3 millions per meter. But maybe 15 years or 20 years ago, the price of land perhaps per meter only maybe 100,000 to 100,000. So it is extremely expensive or increase. If we can project price in the future, when Brother Abdul here got married, or maybe if you have been working, or you have been in the 30s or 40s, I do swear that the price of house will be much expensive compared to now. And even sisters, and I imagine in my humble understanding, look like in Singapore or maybe in other developed countries, you see that the people who have landed house, yeah, it could be a rich man in Singapore, but if you can purchase or buy apartments, yeah, or condominium, yeah, maybe the price is not as much expensive compared to the landed house, or your economic status perhaps in the medium size. What does it mean? It does mean that in the future, the people who have the landed house, perhaps it is only for those who have very much financial resources. Yeah. But for those who still maybe lack in terms of financial resources, perhaps you will have the condominium house or apartment house. Yeah. So this kind of price that increase time by time can be learned and studied actually by using the compounded annual formula. We will discuss a bit on this. Yeah. Let us just go into details by opening the slide here. Okay, here, basic tools of finance. I think some of you have already opened these slides before. Yeah. Let me just little bit recall you again. Yeah. About these basic tools of finance. Yeah. Let me see first, sisters and brothers. Yeah. I think we don't want to see this one. I want to just hear the question. Just think on this. Would you rather have 100 today or 115 a year from today? Yeah. So from these one questions, you will have in your mind right now whether you prefer to have money in hand right now or even the money in hand a year later. If you are a rational man, okay, I want to ask you before I answer the questions. Rian, are you there, Rian? Rian?
Sir,
Yes, Rian. This is just a real case. Yeah. Do you prefer having in hand 100 today or $115 a year later? Rian,
only for today, 100, sir.
why you choose today, not a year later? Even though you see here, the nominal
How
value
about
is higher compared to
tomorrow?
today. Sorry?
How about tomorrow? I'll get 100 too.
Yeah, I ask you a question now, whether you prefer now or you prefer 1 year later or tomorrow. The
No, sir.
tomorrow
No, no.
nominal value is higher compared to today values. Today.
Yes, sir.
Why, Rian?
Yeah, because I can wait, sir.
It's easy. Yeah. So you want today because the money that you have in hand is more valuable today than tomorrow. Because your money in hand today will be having the value that not distracted by the inflation rate. Yeah. You see, sisters and brothers, I think you have to understand first the issue about money. Yeah. The more money you have, the longer the money you holding, the useless value that the money will be. Yeah. So if you have money in your hand, 1 million rupiahs, and you keep in hand, and you just save in the box, yeah, below in the pillow, yeah, and then you want to use this money by tomorrow, I guess the value is not as high as today. Maybe will be depreciated because the money in your hand not necessarily seen from the perspective of nominal values. Don't be distracted with the nominal values, but you have to look at the real values. The real values means the ability of the money to be purchased, to be used to purchase goods and services. If the money that you hold in the hand can purchase more in terms of the real values, real goods, compared to the yesterday, it means your money has strong purchasing power and the way around. So the people somehow in the mind, sisters and brothers, they don't believe that the money in hand right now will be more valuable compared to the next money values. Yeah, because they believe that the inflation rate exists. Inflation rate exists, and the inflation rate somehow is not stable at all. So from this facts, the people will believe today is better compared to maybe tomorrow, because today the value has been there, clear. But tomorrow, even though the value is higher compared to today, but purchasing power of the tomorrow's value maybe will be declined compared to the today because of inflations. And um, here also the not easy question as well. Which would you rather have, 100 today or 102 2 years left? Should you take the second option just because of 103 is more than 100? So don't be distracted by the nominal values. Yeah. Don't look at the money from the nominal, but look at the money from its ability to purchase goods and services, comparing yesterday, today, and tomorrow. If the value is not a change, it means that the money that you're holding has a strong purchasing power, and vice versa. Yeah. So what the Rian answered just now, actually Rian wants to say about the present value. The value that representing the today or present, sum up, yeah, the present values. Economists believe that there's also smart things to do. Yeah. What is the present value? Here is the present value. And the present value here will be contrasted by the future value. Yeah. So future value here is the amount of money, yeah, that will be in the future, assuming it accumulates interest. Yeah. So example, if $2 growth at 5% per year for 30 years, it will become 5.31. Therefore, the future value of $2 is 531. Yeah. But please don't be happy with this value, because these values is the 2 years after, 20 years after. And if you look at here, the marginal value from 2 to become 531, only $3. So $3 for 20 years. So you can see how much the marginal value in 20 years? Only $3. So how if this $2 is used maybe to purchase coals, yeah, or maybe to purchase other productive things, or you develop your own businesses? I do sure that this $2 will be more than $5.31. Yeah. So this the basis of the growth of the money is because of the interest rate. What is interest rate here? The function of interest rate. The function of interest rate here actually the compensation of your willingness, yeah, to put your money in the bank and let the money grow without your interventions, because you're willing your money to be put in the bank and let bank use the money to be lended or to be borrowed by others. So you just get the interest, and after 20 years you will get 5.31. Yeah. And here is the future value. Yeah, the future, the present, the future value is the future values, but the present value is the existing values. Yeah, the current values, the current values. So let me just look at this one, sisters and brothers, from your perspective. Yeah. So suppose you know that $2 will become 5.31 after 20 years. That is, $2 is the present values and 5.31 received 20 years later. If you had to choose between $2 today and 531 20 years later, which would you choose? Yeah. Choose choice one. Alan claims that getting 5.31 20 years later is better than getting 200 today. Had he instead taken $2 today, he couldn't be put in the bank. In case 20 years later, Alan would have had the same 5.31. Therefore, for Alan, choosing to receive 531 20 years later is equally attractive as choosing to receive $2, the present value of the 531 today. So the choice one here indicates that Alan here perceive or imagine that 20 years later, the money that he has will be 531. So it means that Alan here don't have much expectation about the money. Yeah. So he just following the rule of the banks. Choice in one. And the choice in two here, yeah, he claims that getting 531 20 years later is worse than getting 200 today, $2 today. Had she instead chosen to receive 531 20 years later, she wouldn't have had to wait 20 years for the fund to begin. She could borrow 200 today and spend it. Sure, the 200 borrowed today would require a payment of 531 after 20 years to her lender. But as Betty has chosen to receive 531 20 years later, she would have enough money to repay her loan. Therefore, once again, the worst here means that Betty here has another choices. He can use the money to be more productive than being put in the bank. Yeah. So the one that promote the 531, meaning that prefer to put the money in the bank because he don't have much expectation about the growth of money in the future. But for those who are not willing to put the money in the bank, they have expectation that he can be productive by using these $2 without bank intervention. For example, investing in the stock market, investing in the real sectors, maybe the return will be more than $2. Yeah. So again, sisters and brothers, the choice here, therefore, yeah, whichever way you look at it, the prospect here, you have to understand the prospect of receiving a given amount of money in the future is as attractive as receiving today the present value of that amount. It means that, yeah, you should have the forecasting ability. Yeah. So you should understand to foresee the future value of your asset by looking at the existing economic conditions, whether it is good in terms of putting in the bank or not. I just go back to the example that's asking to the brother Abdo in the beginning. Yeah, I asked brother Abdo, yeah, how much the price of house. What is the intention of my questions? My intention is whether if you have money, would you be put the money in the form of invested house, yeah, or you just put your current money in the bank. For example, you have money right now, maybe 1 million rupiah. And this 1 million, whether you will be investing in the house, yeah, or maybe you will put in the bank. So if you put in the bank, you will be given interest 5% per year, for example, and for 20 years. So you can just calculate by your own in 20 years how much the increase of your money from 1 million. But differently, if you put your money in the house, yeah, maybe the price of house will be dramatically increased abnormally, yeah. And then in the end, after the 20 years, you will see the difference of your asset amount. And I do sure the price, the amount of asset that you have in your hand will be much better and higher if you put the money in the house. Why? Because house is the real asset, and everybody is highly need house. The demand is high, but differently, the money is not the real asset. It is financial asset that decrease because of the inflation. So you can compare now the future value of your asset based on the existing value of your asset. And here is just another example. Yeah. Until the last slide. Yeah. You can see by your own here. Yeah. So many examples, interesting example here, including the way how to calculate this amount here. Yeah, compounding 1 year, for example. How to calculate here? Very simple. You can use your calculator to calculate this one. Yeah. Okay, it is just a brief introductions. Maybe you have any questions, sisters and brothers, please, before we continue to the next chapter. Any questions? Okay, no questions. So it means that you have already understood. Oh, so I can just move to the next slide. Yeah. Okay, continue to the next slide. It's about unemployment now. Yeah, unemployment. Okay, so this issue is quite interesting, by the way, sisters and brothers, because you will be the one that be part and parcel with unemployment issues. Whether having graduated from this program of the university, you will be employed or unemployed. That's the issue. Let me see then some description here. So unemployment here is the almost the problem in every corner of the world. Yeah. And the longer problem focuses on the reduction of the natural rate of unemployment. So every government, yeah, will face the issue of natural rate of unemployment. Natural means this is the naturally happens in cycles of employment activities. Yeah. And the short-term problem focuses on reduction to the cyclical rate of employment. So the employment look like a cycles, somehow high, somehow down. Yeah. Look at here the definitions. So the natural rate of employment here is unemployment that does not go away on its own even in the long run. So natural rate of employment is the employment that exists and will be there in almost every period of economics activities. And it is normally happens, and if you see from the context of Indonesia, we have natural rate of unemployment because we have low level of education, for example. Yeah. So low level of education will create unskilled labor. So this unskilled labor will not be absorbed into labor force. So in the end, they will be unemployed. And the next one is about cyclical unemployment. So cyclical means that it associated with the short-term ups and down in the business cycles. So business cycles is up and down fluctuation in the economy, and this business cycle also will affect what extent the economy will be happen, in particularly dealing with the ability to absorb the uh, employment or labor force, yeah, in the economy. And three basic here, the problem is how to measure the unemployment. Yeah, what the problem rise in employment data, and how long are the unemployment typically without work. Yeah. So here is the formula. So labor force is employed plus unemployed. So you and I are considered to be labor force. Yeah. Adult population equal with labor force plus not in labor force. So labor force here plus not in labor force considered to be adult populations. So you are adult populations as well. And here the here in Indonesia we call BPS, yeah, statistical center of bureau considers a person as adult if he or she is over 16 years old. So you and me has been included. An adult is considered employed if he or she spent most of the previous weeks working at the paid jobs. So if you are working and you are paid in the week, yeah, so you are considered to be employed. And an adult is considered unemployed if he or she is on contemporary layoff. Layoff means so you don't have work at all. Yeah, you are meanwhile sitting in the house and waiting for the jobs. Yeah, is looking for the jobs. So having graduated or on vocations, so you're looking for the jobs and waiting for the start date of the new jobs. So you are resigned from the previous job, and this the break, and then you have a new jobs, and meanwhile waiting the new jobs, you are considered to be unemployed. So which one you are there? Yeah, which one you are? And here, a person who is neither employed nor unemployed is not in the labor force. Full-time students, homemaker, or retired. So those three examples are not considered to be unemployed, even though you are above 16 years old and you are not working, you are laid off. Yeah, because you are not considered to be in labor force. You are not in labor force because you don't have intentions to look for the jobs. So the people who look for the job intentionally, intentionally, you are considered to be unemployed. But if you are a student, you are looking for job, you are remain not unemployed, because your initial intentions is not looking for jobs. Your initial intention is looking for study. Yeah, I hope you understand. I mean, here is the just the measurement, simple measurement. So unemployment rate here, number of unemployed over labor force. So you are excluded from this calculation, dear sisters. You are not included here. And here is the we have a labor participation rate. Yeah, is the percentage of adult population in the labor force. Yeah, so we are not talking about the labor force. You are not in labor force. Yeah, so only in labor force. So labor force participation is adult. Labor force over adult population. Adult populations is the accumulation of labor force and not labor force. Yeah. And here is the just the data. Yeah, you just look at by your own here. Here's the labor force experienced by various democratic groups, yeah, in the US. Yeah, and here the employment and age. You can see, sisters and brothers, here that the blue line here is the unemployment rate above the 20, yeah, 25 until 45 years. Yeah, the blue, and the red one here, the unemployment rate 16 to 19. You see, unemployment and age has negative relationship. Yeah, so the more age you have, the older you are, the more unemployed, the more employment will be. I repeat again. Yeah, from this graphic, the red one here is the older one, the blue here is the younger one. So it means they have negative relationship. The more age, the older you have, the more employability you have. Therefore, now you are studying. You are now studying now. You are studying in the hope that you will have more skills, you have more capacity, you have more experience, you will have more knowledge. So you will be more professional. Yeah, and in the end, the employability of you is higher compared to only graduated from senior high schools. Yeah, and here also the unemployment and risk. In Indonesia, we don't have this one. Yeah, um, it's also, if we look at here between the men and women. Yeah, the blue here is the women, the blue here is the women, and the red one is men. Yeah, and but the numbers is quite fluctuated. Yeah, but majority here, the unemployment among women, yeah, is uh, bigger compared to unemployment among men. And it is rational because the women somehow has some limitations. Yeah, and also some of them also are not really committed with the working period, working hours. They want to be more flexible in terms of the work. Yeah, so but differently men, they have fully committed because they have responsibility on the family. Yeah, and here is that educations. You can see the graphs, the educations. The blue line here indicates the less than a high school diploma. Yeah, high school diploma, and then the red one is high school graduations. Yeah, and the green one is the bachelor degree graduations. Yeah, so the green one bachelor, the red one is senior high school or college, and the blue one is less than senior high school. And you can see the rate of unemployment is negatively related with education. So the more you educated, the more probability and employability that you will be, yeah, and the vice versa. And labor force participation rate here, here is the among men, yeah, the man is the blue and the women is the red. You see that the graphs is going to be different, whereby the women here is more having less will be having more participation rate, increasingly move faster compared to the man. The man is going down. So it means that the more women now going to work compared to the man. Yeah. And what explains the rise of female participation rate? Why female right now going to be very active in entering the workforce? Because they have new technology in the home. So the female now from home, yeah, and improve the birth control. It means that now in the mid of modern era, the more women has fewer children compared to the before, and it's changing political and social attitudes. Yeah, it's a greater employment opportunities for educated women. So in Malaysia, for example, when I was there for almost nine years, the education background among women in Malaysia is higher compared to the men. You see that in the class, yeah, not far from Malaysia, in IPIEF perhaps, how many men and women in the class? I think you can just count, yeah. Majority women is higher in terms of numbers compared to the men, yeah. So this indicates that the education among women is better and increased compared to the men. So in other words, this social changing activities will make women have more probability to enter professional working area compared to the men. Women will be more uh, attractive to be working in the medium and high level of working institutions compared to the men's. Yeah. So here is the social changing attitude and politics. And what explains the fall in the male participation rate? Why it happens? Longer schooling. Yeah, you see more male here want to go for the work soon as possible compared to the females. You can count how many male and females that attaining to the PhD or doctoral degree. When I was study PhD in overseas, I have only 10 students. Yeah, we have only 10 students in the class for the PhD in economics. And among 10 students, we only have perhaps 3 or 4 males, and the remaining are females. Yeah. So if I asking the females why they are prefer to go for the PhD, they say that they are lecturers. They are lecturers, and the husband is working for her. So it means that the male participation rate in taking schools is decreased because male has higher responsibility in taking care of the family. Yeah. And the second one, earlier retirement and longer lives. Yeah. You see right now in the labor force, 56 has been retired, or some regulation has been revised to 58. Yeah, and after 58, somehow they are still have very productive until 60 or 70s or almost 80s. Even in Japan, you can see so many older peoples are still actively engaged and working. Yeah, because they have longer life and a higher female employment. So more fathers stay home to raise their children. It happened actually. When I was in Malaysia a few years ago, I found I have a neighbors when I renting a house at the moment. I have neighbors that the males, the fathers, taking care of the boys or the girls. Meanwhile, the wife or the females working for jobs, working at the office. So it is the opposite function somehow happens. It means that the female employment is quite little bit higher compared to the males. Yeah. And here also we have the issue of discouraged workers. Yeah, um, you can see by your own later on. Yeah. Um, okay. Maybe you have any question, dear sisters and brothers, before I continue, please.
Sir. Yeah, hello.
Okay, please. Okay, please. Yeah, anybody, please.
Sir, I want to ask something. The beggars is the employment or what, sir? Because right now it's very many beggar in Jakarta or the some place, so they get the money and they can still alive right now, sir.
Actually, here in the existing conditions, we have already borderless. There is no geographical border or barriers in defining the people who are working or not. Maybe in 20 years, 30 years ago, people are considered work because of they are going to office 7 to 4, yeah, from the morning until in the afternoon, yeah, and it happens in a week, yeah, and they have the holiday on Saturday and Sunday. So those are are considered to be working. Yeah. But right now it has been uh, irrelevant because the technology advancements has made the people who are working are not limited with the office. Yeah, somehow you can just working in the through house in the house without working hours, and the income will be there. Yeah. So the definition of unemployment and employment in the current situation is biased, has been biased. Yeah. Because not only divine from the office perspective in the office or working hours, yeah, but today uh, has been divided through the outcome based jobs. So even though you are not in the office or in the working hours, importantly you have already finished your jobs, you will be paid. Yeah. So if you question about the unemployed or employed here, if you we follow the regulation of the governments, of course the people who are considered unemployed of they are looking for jobs, they are they are waiting for the new jobs, and they are laid off temporarily. So these three criteria for defining um, the people who are unemployed, and these people are above 16 years old. But in the existing conditions, I think it's irrelevant at all because everybody now can work from home, and the income will be maybe more and higher compared to those who are working in the office. Like that, sisters.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Madiba, are you going to ask question, please?
Yeah, hello.
Hello, yes, please, brother.
Yeah, I said the adult population, is it also refers to as the total population?
Oh, okay. That's very good question. So the elder here, according to the slide here, if you see from this slide, okay here, yeah. So here is the pictures of the breakdown of the populations. Yeah. So in the populations, we have two groups. The first labor force, and second one is not labor force. Yeah. And all this one labor force plus not in labor force. Yeah. Are adult populations. Yeah. So labor force plus not in labor force are adult populations. Adult population means the age is above 16 years old. Yeah. But here, if we differentiate specifically on labor force, we have two groups: employed and unemployed. Employed means they are working. They are working at. They are working, and also they are working for X hours per day, and they are paid for the jobs. Yeah, and an employee here is looking for jobs, waiting for the new jobs, and lay off temporarily. Yeah. So what about the retired? Yeah. Here, the retired has been the persons is neither employed or unemployed or not in the labor force. So the full-time student like you, retired and homemaker, yeah, are not considered to be labor force. You are not in labor force, but you are adult populations. Here the answer, Madiba. I hope I answer your question, or you have another perspective, please.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I will continue first to next slide. Yeah. So we'll have so many issues later on. Okay, here. Unemployment causes and cures. Yeah. How to solve the solutions. So actually, dear sisters and brothers, why are these always some people are employed? I think you are having this question in mind. Why always unemployment in countries? Yeah. So it is because of the imbalances between labor supply and labor demands. Yeah. So labor supply here denotes for the people who are looking for jobs. Yeah, college graduations, senior high school graduation, university graduation, they are all labor supply. And labor demand here is represented by the people who are accepted in the companies, or they are working for uh, X hours per day, and they are paid. Not necessarily in the companies, yeah, or in the formal institutions. Yeah. So here is the equilibrium. Yeah. So this equilibrium will determine to what extent the quantity of labor and the wage. So actually the wage here is determined because of the labor supply and labor demands. Yeah. And you see here, what are these always some people are employed? And is we have frictional unemployments. Frictional refers to the unemployment that result from the time that it takes to match workers and with jobs. In other words, frictional unemployment is happen because the mismatch be- between the jobs and the skills. You are the people from economics. Yeah, and once you are graduated, you are working in the not in economics sectors, but in art or maybe in sports. Yeah, so this is the frictional unemployment. Yeah, so you are not match between the workers and the jobs. Yeah, and the next one is structural unemployment. Here, structural employment means that unemployment happens because of insufficient to provide a job for everyone who wants one. So the supply cannot meet the demand. So the demand, yeah, the supply is higher compared to the demand. Yeah, because of the inability to provide a good demand. Yeah, no industry, no investment. Yeah, the crisis, for example, happens. So the many firms close, and then the people will be unemployed. Yeah, and the next one is here is the equilibrium. Yeah, if 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 you have labor supply is more than the demand, you have surplus of labor, or you will have more unemployment. Yeah, so if you have here labor demand is higher compared to the labor supply, so it means that no people unemployed, the people all are working for jobs. Yeah, but it is very difficult to find out like that. So actually here is the equilibrium. Equilibrium means the number of the labor supply is matched with the labor demands. So all the policy of the government will go to this equilibrium actually. Yeah, will be directed to the equilibrium. Yeah. And here the detail of the frictional unemployments here. Yeah. Job search, so you are employed because you find the jobs that not suitable with your backgrounds. For example, in the labor force, the company asking for the people who have background in engineering, and you are now have the background in economics, so the job search is not suitable with your background, so you are unemployed, you cannot register. Yeah, so it is called frictional unemployment. Yeah. um so here we have the policy from the government. Yeah, the government has a policy to give the public training programs. Yeah, unemployment insurance. So it is interesting, dear brothers and sisters. When I was in the UK 10 years ago, we have the UK has the unemployment insurance. So you will be paid. So you'll be paid by the government because of you are unemployed. At the moment was 1,000 pounds sterling. Yeah, for unemployment family, you will be paid 1,000 pounds sterling per month. Yeah. So the unemployment benefit in the developed countries is quite interesting, but it doesn't mean that you will not you are unemployed for a long time. It is just the temporarily benefit given by the government in order to encourage you to be productive, and you can also take care of your family. Yeah. Not for the long time. Yeah. And the government run employment agencies here. For example, here we have labor force agency in the Indonesia. They are looking for the people who are looking for jobs, and they will be given the training, yeah, incentive. So they are skillful, and in the end, they will go to for the companies in the overseas. Yeah. Here is the government run employment agencies. Yeah, I think you can just read by your own. Yeah. Here unemployment insurance increases the amount of such unemployment. Yeah, so the moral hazard happens because unemployment insurance happens. It reduces the search effort of unemployment. You see, it may improve the chances of the workers being matched with the right jobs. Yeah, so the positive one, the people will not emotionally take the job who is not suitable with the backgrounds, because they have already had the insurance. Yeah, this is the positive, but the negative is reduces the search effort of the employment. So the people is lazy to look for the jobs then. Yeah. Here the structural employment, the structure, yeah, because of the um, unequilibrium between labor supply and labor demands. Yeah, this is the definitions. Yeah. And here we have minimum wage law. Yeah, in Jakarta we have minimum wage law for around 1.5 million rupiah. Yeah, per month. So for those who are working in Jakarta, so you will get a minimum wage 1.5, 1.6. Differently in Jakarta, you will have more than 4 million rupiah. Yeah, why it different? Because of the basic needs, the price of basic needs, the price of the um, transportation costs, yeah, and also some minimum requirements of the people for life for living, yeah. And here also you have already seen before about the equilibrium wage, yeah. So the wage here will be equilibrium in here, yeah. So for example, the labor supply is higher compared to the labor demands, yeah. So the government will reduce, yeah, will reduce the wage, yeah, here reduce the wage. If the labor demand here is increased, is higher compared to the labor supply, so the wage must be increasing, yeah. So it is just the matter of equilibrium then. So who earn the minimum wage? Yeah, here the working paid an hourly rate. So here is the working people. Yeah, here the minimum wage, including ourselves. Yeah, is based on the minimum wage. Yeah. Okay, you can just read by your own here, dear sisters and brothers. So many slides here, but I just want to go to the here of the unions. So maybe you heard before about the omnibus law before, yeah. So the issue of omnibus law actually happens because of the competitiveness of the domestic workers, yeah, compared to the maybe the foreign workers, yeah, in terms of the uh, possibility to work, or in terms of the payment will be given to them. And if you are looking, some demonstration happens for a few days later, it's conducted by the unions on collective bargaining. So they have the unions, they have the groups, yeah, and they are struggling for making this law is not approved uh, by the people of representative, yeah. And these unions will be the one that struggle for looking for collective bargaining. They bargain. If it is approved, not approved, what should be the benefit from them? Yeah, for them. It's the bargaining, collective bargaining. And the strike, yeah, the strike will be organized if the union and the firm cannot reach the agreement. Strike means boycott, the boycott, yeah. A strike refers to when the union organized the withdrawals of labor from the firms. It's withdrawals. The firm, the laborers will no longer working at all in the firm. Strike, yeah. The successful strike makes some workers better off and other workers worse off. Yeah, somehow. Yeah. As you can read by your own here, the details. Yeah. I just want to the summary. Yeah, the summary here. So the unemployment rate is the percentage of those who would like to work but doesn't have jobs. So you want to work but you don't have jobs. This is unemployment. Yeah. So the unemployment rate is an imperfect measure of joblessness. Yeah. And the most unemployment observed at any given time is attributable to the few people who are employed for a long period of time. Yeah, not only just looking for jobs, but you don't have a job for a long time. So one reason for employment is the time it takes for workers to search for jobs that best suit their tastes and skills. There is no link and match. Yeah, don't suit with your background somehow. And the second reason why our economy is always has some employment is minimum wage law. So you are paid very low compared to your background, compared to your skills. You are lower paid. Yeah, and minimum wage law raise the quantity of labor supply and reduce the quantity demanded. You see, because of you are paid very low, nobody wants to go for jobs. They are perceived that they are skillful, so that they don't want to go for job, even though the vacancy is there. Yeah. Therefore, the minimum wage somehow will create the new unemployment. Yeah. And here also a third reason for unemployment is the market power of your unions. To what extent the union will struggle on the behalf of you to make the bargaining collective. Yeah. And the fourth reason for employment is suggested by theory of efficiency wage. So high wages can improve worker health, lower worker turnover, increase worker efforts, and raise worker quality. Yeah. So if you are in the future, you are having a firm and you are employing some workers, yeah. So better you give them a high wage, yeah. So they will be more appreciated and there will be more rise worker quality in terms of the productivity. Okay, that's all for the unemployment issue. Anybody has a question, please?
Hello.
Yes, please. Any questions?
Yeah, for the structural unemployment,
Okay.
like I saw in some places they said the
Mm,
structural unemployment
mm,
refers to the types of unemployment that occur as a result of change in technology.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So it is correct, yeah. So structure means the type of the environment in the labor force has changed. For example, you see that before we enter to the revolution 4.0, yeah, we are still in the revolution 3.0, yeah. I think the use of the technology is not that fast than now. Yeah, the people still traditionally work by using their own energy, their own hand, with machine. Yeah, but now has been fully and advanced technological devices. Yeah, so the firm is needed needing workers smaller compared to before, because the activities or the assignment can be done through the technology advancements. Look like in Japan right now, the sisters and brothers, they create robots. Yeah, they create robots for many activities. So it implies that the need for the workers, human workers, will be reduced significantly. So it is the indication of the happening on of the structural unemployment. So people are employed because of the change of the structure of the economy from less developed to the developed technology, for example. Like that, Brother Madiba.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you for your question, Madiba. By the way, any other question, maybe, sisters, before we end the discussion, please? Any questions or clear? Okay, if clear, so I just want to stop the discussions this time. Yeah, and for your information, dear sisters and brothers, inshallah, for maybe next week, yeah, I'm now approaching my network a lecture from International Islam University Malaysia, yeah, to be our guest lecture on introduction to economics. And I'm now in the process of communicating with him. So if he agrees, for the next week, inshallah, maybe the class will be handled by him, and I'm still with you, but he himself will explain and share with you the issue of the money and inflations. Yeah, and hopefully it will be done by next week. Yeah. Okay, that's all for a while, dear sisters and brothers. And if there is some information about the guest lectures and others, for sure I will inform you to the group, inshallah. Okay, any other response or feedbacks, comments before we end the sessions, dear sisters? Okay, enough. Okay, if enough, I end the sessions for these topics. I'm so happy and proud to have you on this week. So many discussions and response, highly appreciated. And see you inshallah by next week. I end with Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Waalaikumsalam.
wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Thank
warahmatullahi
you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, please, dear